Fox News alert moments ago. Our cameras rolling as Border Patrol agents arrested a group of illegal immigrants crossing into the U.S., at least trying to get in from Mexico.
This is that massive migrant caravan, now 4,000 strong, inches a little closer to the United States. So what's being done to stop all of this?
Here with reaction, Cuban-American conservative running for Congress in the 27th District of Florida, Maria Elvira Salazar. We also have Griff Jenkins, as you can see, as the sun comes up and that van fills up with people who are about to be processed down there in McAllen, Texas. Maria, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. What do you make of what we're watching with Griff Jenkins' live camera from our southern border as men and women are being arrested?
Well, people are fighting for their lives. That's why. It's what would you do? And I'm not saying condoning their behavior, but we have to understand that this is a recurring problem. And that's what I believe that President Trump, who is the ultimate deal maker, should be doing the same thing that he did with Kim Jong-un and call for an emergency summit meeting in Tegucigalpa, who is the capital of Honduras, and invite the president of Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, and ask them in which way this country can help them. Hey, this happened before with Ronald Reagan. I was there. I was the Univision Central American Bureau Chief, and I saw how the United States showed leadership and helped our backyard to have prosperity and be able to keep their boys home. You have to understand that Honduras is the most violent country in the hemisphere, and you would do it too if your daughter is facing to be raped or your son to be part of a and I'm not condoning. I understand that we need to protect our border, and I am a Republican, and I believe that we need to have a very strict border security. But you also have to understand that our neighbors are desperate. So
Sure.
what do? We help them stay home.
Well, Maria, we are giving them a lot of money. We've been running the numbers all this week, and millions of dollars to each of these Central American countries. How are they using that money? Why do we continuously see people leaving and fleeing and talking about rape in these countries? What is our money being used for?
That's a very good, and the money is around $200 to $300 million earmarked for each country. Reality is that we could earmark those funds for specific programs. But then I go back to my idea. President Trump needs to show up there, just like he did in North Korea, and say, here we are. We want to help you. Once again, we want to help you keep your people home. Let's do security for police. Let's do some education programs, whatever it takes. We've done it before. It's just that it's time for the United States to wake up, and then we'll stop what's happening at the border right now, as it happened years ago with Reagan, as I just said.
Well, Maria, we want to bring in our correspondent, Griff Jenkins, who's been all over this story for us all morning and long before this program as well, because he's been on the border before. And, Griff, when you hear that talk about maybe there should be a summit, maybe this is an emergency that needs to be dealt with, and Democrats and Republicans go back and forth, Griff, what about those Border Patrol agents behind you who are they're just trying to do their job as this political fight plays out?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's a great point, Ed. You know, look, the Border Patrol will be the first to tell you they don't make the laws, they enforce the laws, and they do a darn good job of doing it. But if you also talk to the leaders here with the Border Patrol, they'll tell you that it is loopholes in these laws that drive people across the border. Let me give you just a little context for just this tiny little area that you've been seeing this activity, right? It is a 300% increase from this exact time last year in the terms of numbers of family units that are coming here. More than 5,000 people in the last 2 weeks, and upwards of 600 pounds of marijuana coming. And that's not including the people that are these middle-aged to young men that we've seen running all over the border today. And so it is the driver of loopholes in the laws that is causing this to happen. So if they do have a summit, and the Border Patrol will be glad to enforce whatever laws our politicians make, they want to see some consistency so that there isn't an incentive on the part of the cartels who are ruthless and very much watching what we're doing in this country.
Go ahead, Maria.
The Border Patrols are the heroes, and just ICE, they're the heroes. They're just following the rules from Washington. So that's why Washington needs to step up to the plate and show leadership. The people that are coming, I'm sure that El Chapo is sending a lot of drugs, and I'm sure the coyotes are smuggling a lot of people. But the overwhelming majority of those people are facing death.
Yeah.
They're under the
Maria,
threat of death. So what would you do? Hey, go, because we are the best country in the hemisphere.
Yeah.
And they know it. And they know that the Americans are going to treat them a lot better than the Honduran officials.
Yeah, pardon me, Maria. You're running in an open seat, as I understand.
Right.
Ileana Ross-Lightning,
Yes.
a longtime Republican, retiring. Democrat Donna Shalala from the Clinton cabinet. A lot of Democrats assumed wrongly that she might be a shoo-in for this seat. It's now a toss-up, basically, down there in South Florida. How big of an issue is illegal immigration in this particular race?
It is, but we understand it very well. And, we are the ultimate melting pot. And that's why I feel that I could really advise not only the president, but the whole leadership in Congress, because we get it. I live among them. I have lived with them. And we know that it's easy. Hondurans and the Central Americans love the United States. We are the beacon of hope. That's why everybody wants to come here. But we also get that not everybody can come into the United States. So let's help them. So the seat, you just mentioned Donna Shalala. She just made a very big mistake a couple of days ago by inviting a congresswoman from California. Her name is Barbara Lee. And Barbara Lee is one of the most important apologists and defenders of Fidel Castro. So how could you be inviting somebody that has shown such preference for Fidel to the heart of the Cuban exile? It shows that my opponent is completely clueless and disconnected from our community, a community that she will want to represent in the House of Representatives in the U.S. Congress. So I think that right there it's very clear who is really the ideal representative.
Pardon us,
for
Maria,
this
but
seat.
Griff, I think, has a little bit more news. Griff, we've got 30 seconds. What's happening behind you?
Yeah. Just very quickly, I'm going to take a moment just to ask these gentlemen, can you ask them why they came here?
Señor, ¿por qué veniste a los Estados Unidos?
Por necesidad.
Necessity.
For necessity? Okay. And if any of them come to do harm to the United States?
Vinieron a Estados Unidos nomás a trabajar?
Okay.
What's that?
Just for work.
Just for work. Okay. I just want to give you, you're asking me earlier, they say they're coming here for work. They're 4 men in their 20s. Who knows? They'll be doing a little debriefing and processing them. We'll find out more about them perhaps later. But you wanted to ask them, so they all say they're coming for
Griff,
work.
thanks for your reporting.
Maria, if you win,
But that was not the right translation. He did not translate what you said.
What did he say? Real quick, we got 15.
He translated. He said, "Are you coming here for what reason?" He didn't ask, "Are you coming here to harm the United States?"
Okay.
And then they repeated once again, "Is out of need." Sure, need for work, need for
All right,
security.
Maria, we got to go. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Griff.
Sure,
We appreciate
good to
that.
see
Fox
you.
and Friends on the other side.
Thank you very much.